All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is up, everybody? I'm doing a test quick. All right, the microphone's working. Sorry, we had SaberSim wasn't really loading for me early, and then every time I go off my Wi-Fi for my Ethernet, it doesn't work. Then I noticed my AirPods was my mic, but that part's working. We're good right now, Rio?
Yeah, sound fine right now to me.
All right, we're good. 8 games on the slate. Not much time to waste. Again, SaberSim wasn't loading right away for me, so we're going to be sharing off the stone. 8 games on the slates. Not too much time to waste. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have 2 games at 7, 2 games at 8, 1 game at 8:30, 2 games at 9, 1 game at 9:30 Eastern. DraftKings definitely has listened to you, Rio. Added these bigger slates. How are you doing today? How do you feel being that special to the DraftKings head of operations team?
Yeah, I doubt it's all me. Hopefully some other people have complained. That'd be pretty crazy if it was just me, but yeah, I like that they're including all these games tonight, and they have over the last week or so. Definitely provides a little bit of an edge. Waiting for injury news and just being able to late swap. I know we saw a lot of people in our Discord mentioning that they got onto some better lineups from late swapping, which is the beauty of it. You get information early, you're able to kind of react to news and let Saber do its thing and get you onto some lower end plays that you wouldn't have regularly been playing if you just ran things normally in that first hour. But yeah, good slate tonight. A lot of teams on both ends of a back-to-back. I believe there might even be like 4 or 5 teams that are on the back end of a back-to-back tonight, and then a couple of teams on the front end. So could see some wonky rotations, a lot of injury news as always. So yeah, kind of the normal NBA DFS slate, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a really good one. Very similar to yesterday. Going to be a lot of moving pieces. Again, 2.5 hour window from the first lock time to the last lock time. All of our content up as always, projections, ownership to stone, like we will be showing as it goes through. Rio, Matt, our man Ham on the core report, me on the cash report. DVP rankings, a new tool. You can sort. It's all automated all day. They can sort the past 2 weeks or this past season. Also, if you go to More Education NBA, you can check out a 2-hour tutorial talking some NBA DFS and all different moving parts of that. All we ask, like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. We have daily passes over here. You can get in as low as $9, 5 days for $19. Probably the best deal. Gets you SaberSim and access to the Discord. Gets you PGA Showdown. Gets you some MMA. Me and Big Marley will be talking some MMA tonight. UFC 325. Great card. Also gets you some NHL. Next thing you know, MLB will be back in our lives. What's up, Jason? Brock, very nice of you. Third last night. Hey, awesome stuff, Brock. Awesome stuff. Philly Phantom in here. Rodney, Mr. Mike's daddy, Mighty Saint, LSU, Evan, Gangrene, Ricky, Brittany, Marcus, wins a lot, MN Holla, a lot of familiar faces. Hope everyone's day is going well. No time to waste, though, Rio. If you have any broad slate overview, you can hit me with it. Otherwise, we're going to jump to game by game.
No, let's jump into it.
First game of the night, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sacramento Kings and the Philadelphia 76ers. 11.5-point favorites are the Sixers. 230.5 total in this one. Injuries on the Kings side, no Russell Westbrook. Malik Monk is questionable on the Philly side. Quentin Grimes questionable. That is all we got there. Take it away. Big favorites are the 76ers.
Yeah, so with the out tag on Westbrook, we should see Dennis Schroeder slide into the starting lineup, and then you could get more secure minutes on guys like what's his name, Nick Clifford. I don't know if he would start. He's probably not starting anymore with Levine back, but with Malik Monk questionable, that's probably securing his minutes, and then they're going to continue to run that 3-headed front court with, or I guess 4-headed, Precious Achiuwa, Reyno, Cardwell, and then Sabonis getting healthier, being back. Good spot for the Sixers here, coming off of another pretty solid game. Kings continue to get crushed on defense. They've fallen to bottom 4 over the last 2 weeks. Sixers really have not been that much better. A couple up and down games over the last 2 weeks. They're bottom 7 over that span, but both teams are at least playing pretty well on offense, so they've been able to put up points. Kings are double-digit underdogs once again, so Vegas not giving them any credit for getting a little bit healthier tonight. They are bottom 3. These two teams are 2 of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA as well, bottom 3 and bottom 2. Still expect the Kings to get better with Sabonis healthier, and then the Sixers are pretty big rim funnel, so a little bit of a decent spot for some of these guys on the Kings. Really only 2 guys that I'm considering tonight on Sacramento, and that's going to be Schroeder, expected to start tonight. Been a solid per minute producer without Russ, just under 1 fantasy points per minute. Pretty good spot for him as well. Sixers one of the worst pick and roll defenses in the league, and Embiid plays so much drop coverage that it should lead to some easy looks in the mid-range for a guy like Dennis Schroeder. So I think he's pretty solid. And then I'm still interested in Sabonis. Got up to 33 minutes last game, so minutes trending up. Looks like he's getting fully healthy, and we know the type of upside that he does possess when he's healthy. And I think with no Westbrook, that should help him, should help his assist numbers. Haven't really seen enough minutes from him to know what it's going to look like, but Russ is a guy that can contribute in all categories, so taking him off the court, I think it's going to help the overall upside for Sabonis. So I'm okay with those 2 guys. Probably going to be a max 1 on Sacramento, and then the same thing for Philly. I think it's a max 1. Really just considering Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. I think the matchup is probably a little bit better for Embiid just with how bad the Kings have been on the interior, and it looks like he's playing at a all-star level, like almost back to fully healthy. Saw him get the dunk, the alley-oop dunk last game. I don't know if you saw that. Like even guys in the Bucks were happy for him and smiling for us, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are really the only 2 guys that I'm considering. Don't really have too much to add on those guys. I think there probably are going to be better spend down options at center tonight, and then potentially even better spend ups at point guard. So wouldn't be too surprised to see a midday downgrade either for the Kings or for the Sixers on Embiid or Paul George. They're both probable, but pretty tight schedule right now, and they have a back-to-back coming up pretty soon against some better teams. So it would be a time to get somebody the night off if they wanted to.
I was surprised that PG and Embiid were not on the injury report at all as 11.5 point favorites. I will say, though, like there's a lot of Q tags on this slate and a lot of different lock times. We will be playing people, at least I will, in the next game, the Bucks and the Wizards. So it's not like we can really backload, but you can at least save more spots by not really getting to this game because you will be playing Bucks Wizards. It looks pretty bad in terms of DFS this game. I mean, ownership kind of follows, but biggest favorite or biggest spread at 11.5. A lot of close spreads on this slate. 7.5 is the next biggest. Solid total here at 230.5. But if at PG and Embiid play, I mean, prices are just efficient on the Sixers side. I'd have more interest on Schroeder or Sabonis, like you said, just playing one of them or moving on, but not a game that you want to get much exposure to start. The same cannot be said, though, about this next game. Bucks 2.5 point favorites over the Wizards. 222.5 total in this one. Milwaukee obviously still without Giannis. No Gary Harris. No KPJ. And then Cole Anthony's questionable. That's a sneaky Q tag that matters a little bit. Excuse me. Wow. On the Washington side, no Alex Sarr. He's questionable. No Bagley, but Sarr is questionable coming off an absolute monster game. Shout out to you. I mean, he was 41%. You can only take so much credit, but you said you wanted to be well over the field on Sarr. Absolutely put up a nuke score. I mean, we just played a lot of the Bucks. They're shorthanded. Prices I don't think have come up enough. And I have some interest on these Wizards as well, who, yeah, I mean, Trey Johnson, Keyshawn George, definitely getting a little ownership, but like Sarr, if he plays, isn't showing nearly the same ownership. They're going to be lower owned, the Wizards are, than we saw days ago. But yeah, as you can see on the stone, the Bucks, not so much.
Yeah, I think both these teams are pretty mispriced for the roles that we've seen from each of them. Wizards really tightening up the rotation as of late. Even with a semi-fully healthy team, it's just Bagley, Vucevic, and then Trae Young are out, but he hasn't played for them at all this season, so they're fairly healthy, but still running a pretty tight rotation. And then for Milwaukee, I mean, that was like the tightest rotation they've ran all season long. You saw Miles Turner get up to 35 minutes. Bobby Portis was training for like 38. Ryan Rollins played a ton. And then even Cole Anthony off the bench played like 29, I think. So they're really keeping things really close here. Surprised that the total is as low as it is, but that doesn't really get me off of this game. I still think it's really, really good. Wizards are playing decently on defense, a little bit better than their season average. They're still bottom 2 in defensive rating. They're dead last in rebounding as well. Bucks are in really bad form on defense. Obviously, not having Giannis does not help them at all, but they're bottom 2 in defense over the last 2 weeks, just behind the Utah Jazz. So definitely a lot to like on the on both sides of this game, but definitely a lot to like on the Washington side. I'll start with the Bucks, though. Huge role for Ryan Rollins last game, and that was expected. Not really getting that past anybody, but he was only 7K in that slate. And he was, I believe he was on the optimal. He only had like 45 DK points, which is not, I mean, that's obviously really good at his price tag, but the role is definitely worthy of somebody that's priced sub 8K. He was just under 7 minutes of touch time, had 27 drives in that game, 22% usage rate, 16 potential assists. So I think he looks like a really, really good option. I just wonder if they're going to put Koulibaly on him because he's probably their best offensive weapon now outside of Bobby Portis, but I don't think that Bobby Portis is really the type of guy that Koulibaly matches up with. He's kind of better as an on-ball guy. It's either going to be Koulibaly on Rollins or on Kuzma. So I'm just thinking through that. I don't really know exactly who they're going to put him on. Do you have any thoughts there? I know you're not really like the matchup guy, but
Yeah, I mean, my guess would be Rollins. I mean, he's the primary ball handler. It feels like he's the one that gets this offense moving. So as the best defender, I think they put him on him.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting angle. I don't think that there's enough for you to fully fade Rollins, but you could probably maybe match the field or be a little bit under and then kind of go over on Kuzma because it's basically those two guys that were running the point. Obviously, Kuzma, we know, is a guy that can fill up the stat sheet. He had 3.7 minutes of touch time in that game, 14 drives, both second on the team, 22% usage rate, 11 potentials. He's a third cheapest buck on the team right now, but he has the second best role. Obviously, Bobby Portis is a guy that hit in a really big way last game at a cheaper price tag, but Kuzma didn't really raise that much up. And I really don't think that – I kind of agree with you. I don't think they're going to put Koulibaly – like it's kind of a waste in my eyes to put Koulibaly on Kuzma. I think you're better suited putting him against Ryan Rollins. So that kind of has me a little bit more interested in Kuzma than I want to be. I don't know. Like you probably could set a max 1 rule of Rollins and Kuzma, and I think – that would be kind of smart tonight because it's going to be one of the two that is getting the Koulibaly assignment. As for Bobby Portis, though, he got the start last game, was excellent, 36 minutes, like I said, trending for like 38, 39. Had a near triple-double, 46.5 DK points. I wouldn't bank on him getting close to triple-double again. He only had 7 potential assists, but ran perfectly hot with 8 assists in that game, so not really something that I expect. But what I do like about the matchup for him is obviously the rim defense for the Wizards is pretty poor, especially if you take away Alex Sarr, it's going to get really bad. But they're also a really bad rebounding team, and Miles Turner is not going after rebounds as much as Bobby Portis is. So I think that Bobby Portis almost a lock for a double-double in my eyes, and then he has upside for more with the scoring upside. So I like Bobby Portis a ton. Miles Turner, I don't really know if you expect him to shoot as hard as he did last game, played 35 minutes, which was good to see. It's a really good price tag, but he's not the prototype of center that is doing well against the Wizards. It's more so big guys like Joe Val, like Embiid, the guys that are scoring around the basket. Turner is more than happy to stay around the 3-point line. So I think that you can get away from him. I think Bobby Portis and Kuzma are my 2 favorite options. Then it's Rollins, then Turner. And then as far as the bench unit goes, or just the secondary options, if Cole Anthony is out, I would expect Gary Trent Jr. to run a lot of the second unit. And he was also, he was in there for 20 minutes last game. I think there's a chance he could play upper 20s. So he'd be a guy that I definitely keep in the player pool. I don't know how else they would fill up the minutes, though.
Only if he's out, right? No, Gary Trent if Cole Anthony's in.
I don't think he's not in play right now because I know it's kind of like doesn't really matter too much with Gary Harris being out, but Gary Harris was the first off the bench last game. I think that it would now become Gary Trent as the first off the bench. So that does kind of matter a little bit. I probably think he's at 25 minutes right now, even with Cole Anthony in, and probably closer to 30 if he's out.
Okay. Definitely would have interest at 30 minutes, 3,500, no doubt. Anything else on the Bucks side, or do you want to go Wizards?
Yeah, I think that's it. On the Washington side, obviously, the big news is Sarr. We'll get that news before the slate starts. I don't really know. I think he's like a true 50-50. He didn't practice yesterday and then was just listed questionable. So not really a downgrade for him. It's just a listing. So I'm not really too sure if he's in or not. If he does play, I probably am off of him tonight. I don't really look at Miles Turner as like an elite defender by any means, but he has been doing a good job kind of in his whole career at limiting big games from opposing bigs. Like the Pacers, ever since he was with them, were a pretty bad rim defense and really like a huge rim funnel. But even then, you weren't really getting massive games from opposing centers. It was kind of other guys doing most of the work. So I think Sarr, like he's in really good form right now. Been seen an uptick in usage over the last 8 games. Obviously, you could make the case for him, but I think that I probably prefer some of the other guys that are cheaper. Keyshawn George, the main guy at 7.3K, I think he's really, really good tonight. The Bucks been getting killed with 3-point shooters. He's not like a sniper by any means, but his usage and his role has been really good ever since the CJ McCollum trade. He's had a 26.4% usage rate without McCollum, averaging 17.2, 6.7 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. And then over the last 8 games, slight increase in his usage and on-ball role with an uptick to his potential assists and rebounding rates. Take away Alex Sarr, there's a good chance that I don't know if he's getting a triple-double, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's flirting with it. Like the rebounding rates for George are going to shoot up when you take away Alex Sarr. So I like him regardless, but he could get really, really interesting if Sarr does miss. And then Trey Johnson is the next guy I'm looking at. Really good matchup for 3-point shooters, and the Bucks have suddenly become one of the worst 3-point defenses in the league over the last month. I think they're allowing the second most per game. Trey's averaging just under 32 minutes per game with CJ McCollum out this season. Slight increase to his usage, but he's shooting 40% from 3 over the last 8 games on 7 attempts per game. I think this could be a really big scoring night for Trey. We saw him go for 26 a few games ago. I think he could top that here. Bucks are just really, really bad on defense right now. And then Koulibaly, I think, is worth mentioning. He got up to 28 minutes in his first game back. So he's probably back to full. Like 28 is not too big of a restriction coming off of a slightly lengthy injury absence. I think he was out for like a week or 2. So I think he's probably back to playing 30-plus minutes. So he's kind of interesting as a guy that's not getting a ton of ownership. 5.4K, pretty good price tag for him. Chris Middleton, revenge spot, if you're into that. He went for 35.5 and 31 against the Bucks earlier this season, but then just 15 last game. Had a really good game against Portland, 42 DK points in that one at low ownership. I think he'll get some love. And then you got to talk about what they're going to do in the front court if Sarr were to miss. It's probably going to be a 3-headed center monster, I would imagine. Like, I think Anthony Gill is in there. I think Will Riley is mixing in as well. But they just signed Skal Labissiere like 3-4 days ago, something like that. He might start. Yeah, he was on the Kings. He's been in the league for a minute, actually. I thought he was a lot younger. He's like 29 years old. I think that he might start just because they need like a real center. I don't necessarily think that I would have a lot of interest in him because I'd want to wait for Clint Capella if he's starting for Sengun being out.
Damn.
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect him to get like 25, 30 minutes. Yeah. It's probably going to be maybe like one long rotation in each half. And then
what if they go Will Riley?
I don't know if they will because he's pretty small, like strength, like weight wise, he's really skinny. I think he does mix in as a small ball because the guys behind Miles Turner, it's like Pete Nance and Jericho Sims, who don't really have much of an offensive game, so you can kind of get away with it. Don't know if they necessarily want to do that against Miles Turner. I think Skal is probably the guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Anthony Gill either. But I do expect all 3 of them to mix in for center minutes.
I mean, you saying that, it pretty much sounds like don't even bother clicking. If Sarr is out, don't even bother messing with any of the 3. I mean, center is really good on this slate. I actually think Sarr is pretty interesting. I know you talked about the matchup not being great against Turner if he plays. I guess, don't necessarily believe that he might be 26% at just center eligibility. Center is pretty strong on this slate. I think more people will go Joe Val when going to that mid-tier option. I think in the same game, Miles Turner will be one of the more chalky options. So I think 7,900 is a solid price for Sarr. He's just good. Man, I want to be a part of this game. I know it is 7 Eastern. It locks right away. There's a lot of Q tags we're waiting on, but I mean, Keyshawn, Trey Johnson. I'm also in on the Middleton. I mean, I just saw it against Portland. Now you get the revenge narrative. Him and Giannis buddies, I mean, he's going to be chucking. There's no doubt about that if it goes in. And we're still only showing 4%. So I mean, like, how many is too many? Locking 5 in one game that starts it off on a big slate with Q tags doesn't feel great. Is it 4 max? What do you think?
I think it's probably 2 and 2 from each side.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of say that reluctantly because $3 did get there last time, but there's kind of a lot
And
of
almost
injury news
4.
later.
Turner, Rollins, Kuzma, Bobby. I know I was up there in like 30th place or something. Like 4 could have, I think, if you had the right surrounding pieces, the Middletons, I forget who else nuked that you needed Sar, but I mean, you wouldn't have been mad with 4.
It was Kuzma was not on the winner because Paul George had a huge game.
Oh,
And
that's what it was.
Sadiq Bey outscored him too.
But I mean, Kuzma still had like 42, and he left with a lower leg. I mean, it was really pretty much at the end when they yanked the guys, but you weren't mad if you had 4 of them, and it only could get better if Cole Anthony's out. So yeah.
I think in single entries, you're probably fine with $3. I don't know if you'll need 3 tonight in MME, like 150 max, where you kind of have to be closer to perfect. Also wanted to mention, I think that there is a little bit of a better chance for the Wizards to go small ball if Star were to miss. So that would have me a little bit interested in just Champagny because he's a really, really good rebounder. I think that they would probably want to play him a little bit more too.
Good shout there. Yeah, great game. You cannot ignore that one for sure. We'll move to a game that's not nearly as good, the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls. Well, I say that, but it is a 1.5 point favorite to the Heat and the biggest total at 239.5. Injuries on the Chicago side, Josh Giddey questionable, Trey Jones out. On the Miami side, no Davion Mitchell. The reason I said not as great, if Giddey is playing, I think the prices are somewhat efficient. But I think if you are playing it, you're just making a case for the studs. Bam, Giddey himself, if he plays, 7,700 looks maybe a little too cheap. Drew Smith had a solid game yesterday. Bazulis was nuking. And then I think that game got out of hand, and he just finished with like 33 or something. I don't know. It's just such a big slate. If Giddey plays, feels like the prices are pretty efficient, but the highest total on the slate and 1.5 point favorites only. So are you getting to some pieces?
Well, the Bulls actually ended up losing. So the game was –
Did they get blown out?
No, they were winning, and then the Pacers came back and ended up winning at the end of the game.
Huh, I wonder what game I was thinking of. I was too busy late swapping my dick off every 20 minutes. I mean, gosh, 2.5 hours every 30 minutes. I don't know which game I was thinking of then. I know maybe I was the Lakers Cavs because I know the Cavs pulled away and the Lakers stunk, and then the Tysons and stuff didn't get there. Maybe it was that one.
It might have been a different slate because John Tyson did have a pretty good game last night. But
he did, but then they didn't get the full run.
They got
he could have like 48 or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think obviously you kind of mentioned it, but the big news in this one, Josh Giddey questionable, and kind of a surprising Q tag because the beat writers basically said that both Giddey and White were training to play in the back-to-back. So I don't really know now. It's obviously throws a wrench into things. They do have another back-to-back coming up, I believe, over the weekend. So they said if basically depending on how they came out of the back-to-back would determine their status for the weekend. So obviously Giddey must not have responded very well. So maybe he's out. Definitely would complicate things a little bit. It's a lot of a different situation for Chicago than we've seen in most of the games that Giddey missed because they had Trey Jones. They had like a true point guard. If Giddey does miss, then you're left with like a mixture of Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and like Vooch as your main ball handlers, I would say.
Vooch, when you say that, it's not great.
He's had some good games though. He's a decent passer. But
but he ain't no like Sengun or something. I mean, Sengun, Jokic, those guys, sure, you can maybe call him point guard. Like, I don't know, Vooch. It's just funny to think about it. But also, do you think Kobe White's going to get dished? Bulls definitely in the market looking to make some moves.
Sounds like it. Yeah, Houston apparently made an offer for him. I think that'd be a really good pickup because, man, the Houston, they're basically the Orlando Magic of the West.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they have no shooting outside of Durant, and like Tari Eason can shoot it sometimes, but that's basically it. Like they have no shooters.
But they're well coached to play D. They're long. They got athletes.
Can't beat the Spurs though. Can't beat Wemby.
Tough.
So the Bulls side, I think as of now, assuming Giddey is in, not too much that really stands out. I think the way that you want to attack Miami, they have some guys that match up pretty well. Like the 3-point shooting has always been the place to attack Miami, but they've kind of shifted the way they're getting beat as of late. They're giving up more rim scoring. Miami's still playing really fast, so I think that this game is going to be heard from for sure. It's the highest over-under on the slate, closest spread too, I believe. So definitely, I think you probably want to find ways to get into it. I like Jalen Smith the most, I think, regardless. But if Giddey is out, like he becomes really, really interesting in my eyes at 6.2K, playing a lot regardless if he's coming off the bench or starting. And he sees the biggest boost from a per minute standpoint with Giddey off. The role change is the biggest for Vooch and like Io and Kobe White a little bit. So I would think those guys all look a lot better. But Jalen Smith is a guy that kind of stands out to me. The way that I'm prioritizing the Bulls if Giddey is out, Jalen Smith is 1. Io would be 2, assuming that he's starting. I don't really see how they don't start him. He'd be really good at 5.5K. We kind of like to attack the Heat with guards too, mainly point guards. And if he's running the point, he'd be really interesting. I would have Kobe and Vooch as 3 and 4 just because the pricing. I kind of have Vooch ahead of Kobe because I think he's more likely to play heavier minutes. And then Kevin Huerter and Matas are kind of like the 5th and 6th options. I would probably pair away Kevin Huerter and Kobe White. I think if they do manage Kobe White, it's probably coming at the expense of Kevin Huerter. Or I guess I kind of worded that wrong. But if Huerter's playing more, it's coming at the expense of Kobe White. And it's a decent matchup for Kevin Huerter as well. So I would pair those guys away from each other. And then on the Heat side, I think it's a really good spot for Bam again. He's been crushing it as of late. He had a really good game against the Bulls earlier this season. Only played 29 minutes. It was a huge blowout, but he went for 18, 7, and 5. Really good matchup. He's honestly coming into tonight in really good form as well. Had a really good game last night. Over the last 9 games, he's shooting he has a 60% true shooting percentage, shooting 45% from 3 and taking more shots as well, and then averaging 23.4 points per game. I think he should be able to keep the hot streak going against a really, really bad rim defense. I like Bam a good bit here. Kind of adds to the list of really strong center options. After that is where it gets a little bit worse. Like I think Norm is okay at 7.1K. Only played 28 minutes last night. Went for 19 and 25 minutes against the Bulls earlier this season. I think Wiggins is in consideration. And then with Davion now out, you're probably looking at Jasper starting again. But Drew Smith would be the guy that is a little bit better at, what was he, 4.2K now? Jasper is –
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
4,
Casper is
Casper's
yeah,
4,
he's
5.
4.5. So I definitely
I
prefer
think Drew,
Drew.
yeah, I think Drew Smith's in play again, right? You're fine. You'd be fine playing him at 8 Eastern. 4,200 is a value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Drew Smith, Bam. I don't know. I'm kind of weary about Norm right now at 7-1. I don't know. A couple days ago, he didn't sniff the fourth quarter. Didn't play like 1 second. Snowflake. I just feel like there's a little downside there at 7-1 on a slate like this, but definitely will be very low.
Just scoring dependent too. Like you need 30 plus from him, which he could do. Like this is a good matchup, but I want guys that kind of provide a little bit of other things. So that's kind of why I like Bam. He's been getting involved much more. You take away Davion Mitchell's 7.2 assists per game. I think it's Bam as the clear top option.
I like it. And again, yeah, center is loaded. People will not be playing Bam, and that's a very solid price tag for him.
We'll get a lot of information on these teams because Wardo posted they play 3 times in a row over the next like 4 days because they had a makeup game.
For these two. Wow.
Yeah, and they're calling it the play-in bowl. These are, I think, literally ever since the play-in was a thing. It's been Miami, Chicago, and Atlanta, and basically locked into those bottom 3 spots.
Huh. And very interesting. All right, that's all I got in that one. Definitely monitor Josh Giddey news. You will get it at 8 p.m. Eastern. Second lock time of the slate. The other game at 8 p.m. Eastern, Houston Rockets and the Atlanta Hawks. 4.5-point favorites are the Rockets. 222.5 total. On the Houston side, no Tari Eason, no Dorian Finney-Smith. Sengun is questionable. For the Hawks, Noah Kongwu, man, that was nasty, his face. And Jalen Johnson is questionable. I mean, you can't ignore these Q tags. Sengun, Jalen Johnson, it's 2 of the biggest Q tags on the slate, so take it how you wish. Even if both of them are in, as you can see, Gouye, Reed Shepherd, looks like we have some value. And you did mention Clint Capella earlier, so yeah, I don't think you can ignore this one.
Yeah, this would be the exact reason why I don't really want to overreact to Sar being out, at least for the centers, because if you had that center spot locked up, like you obviously could play 2 on the slate, but I'd rather just play Clint Capella in a lot of my teams over whoever starts at center for Washington. Just a much better per minute producer. I think he's going to have a clear role. He started once earlier this season, played 30 minutes in that game. Wasn't that great. It was against the Mavericks, so should have been a good spot for him. But he's around 1.25 fantasy points per minute this season. So yeah, I'd really want to wait around for Capella startings. I think he'd be the best value play on the slate. But taking away Houston obviously does a lot, or taking away Sengun does a lot for Houston, both on offense and defense. They kind of have to shift around their whole game plan. Been about a 385-minute sample with both Sengun and Adams off the court this season. The defense has been fine, but their offensive rating craters. They have 122 offensive rating with Sengun on, 112 with him off. Just really changes the way that they're going to play. Obviously, you're going to expect bigger roles for KD, Amon Thompson, and then Reed Shepherd as well. He's played, I think, like 30-plus minutes in a couple of the games that Sengun has missed this season. I think Kevin Durant in particular would be the guy I'm most interested in, just because he sees a really big increase to his assist rate when Sengun is off the court and becomes more of a facilitator while also being able to take over as a scorer later in the game. So I think KD is the guy I have the most interest in outside of Capella when Sengun does get ruled out. And then I would have Shepherd ahead of Amon Thompson just because he's 4.5K. Shooting the ball really poorly right now, which is not great to see. And we know that Udoka has a pretty big or pretty tight leash on Shepherd if he's not scoring and he's not playing good defense. Wouldn't really be wanting to play him in like 50 to 60% of my rosters. I think there's a more than a 50% chance that he doesn't see his full minute ceiling. But yeah, he's averaging 25 minutes per game, 26.4 DK points per game without Sengun this season. So been pretty solid for a guy at 4.5K who does have really big upside. And then for Atlanta, obviously with Okongwu out, that's going to change things around for them. They've been playing much better defense, mainly protecting the basket a lot better, and their rebounding's been good. But you're taking away Okongwu, not too sure how they're going to fill up those minutes. It's going to be between Mo Gay or Koloko, and I think it's going to be Koloko starting at 3.3K, so definitely in consideration as a value play as well. Obviously prefer Capella over him, but if Jalen Johnson were to miss, then Mo Gay is for sure going to be playing a good amount, and then you're probably getting Austin Newell mixed in for some front court minutes as well. But that would really solidify the minutes in the starting lineup for Kispert, I would imagine, and then you're seeing more from CJ McCollum. Obviously, the role is going to increase for Nickeil Alexander and Dyson Daniels. But I would think that Dyson is the guy that I have the most interest in. The rim defense for Houston's going to get much worse with no Sengun, no Steven Adams, no Tari Eason, no DFS. And Dyson is much better against teams that struggle to protect the basket. He does have triple-double upside. Had a couple big games without Jalen earlier this season. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, more of the scoring threat. But yeah, I just think I'm a little bit more confident that Dyson can provide multiple stats tonight. So I like him the most. And then I would definitely have interest in CJ. He should probably top 30 minutes. I don't think he's played more than 30 in a game with Atlanta yet this season, maybe once. He's been hovering around like the 28, 29-minute mark. This would probably be a good spot to get him above 30. But yeah, definitely a lot to like in this game. You're going to have to wait around for it for sure.
Yeah. And again, it is a second lock. Like you have 2 games that lock right away. This is the next game. So you will have spots, but I think Capella is obviously the biggest one, would be very good value if Sengun's out. Did you mention Dyson Daniels at all? Great game yesterday at absolutely no ownership. If Jalen Johnson's out, obviously, but if he's in, can you get there as a contrarian mid-tier option off like Ryan Rollins?
Yeah, I think you can, but I definitely would prefer for Jalen to be out, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the Rockets do have turnover issues at times. So obviously it's good seeing the steals kind of, we obviously know like he's got ridiculous steal upside at times. So that would be a plus for him.
Yeah. When you were just talking like Reed Shepherd and kind of like the value and stuff he offers, it is worth noting on this slate, it's 8 games. There's only 3 people that are 10K and above. And one of them's Jalen Johnson, who's questionable. Then it's SGA and Cade. Neither of them are really getting much ownership. Maxey, Jamal Murray, Embiid, Sengun's questionable. Like the spends aren't great. A lot of people will go to that more mid-tier and load up on some bucks and stuff like that. Maybe one spend. But it's worth, like, if you don't love Reed Shepherd or you don't love Drew Smith or you don't love Gouye, or like, you don't need to really play these guys. You can hammer the mid tier and be very safe with some like minutes and usage and stuff like that. And the Washington stuff, the Bucks, and there's so many Q tags. Some of these guys are probably going to be out and open up even stronger plays, like if Jalen Johnson, Sengun, something like that. So just wanted to mention that.
No, that's good. That's honestly something I should have talked about before doing the slate overview. Is there are not a lot of spends tonight, and there could be a ton of value. So it's kind of an interesting slate from that angle.
Yeah, I mean, it's good on an 8-game. Like if you like Cade Cunningham or you like Jalen Johnson or whoever it is, like these guys are all going to be pretty low owned. Like I hope you actually, when we're going through this, that you do have a stand in the upper tier that overspend and stuff, because you're going to, right now, value's okay and mid-tier strong. And yeah, with all these Q tags, something's going to open up, it feels like. And NBA is not a sport where I'm trying to leave 2,000 on the table. You'll just spend to spend because they're the best players, even if it's a tough matchup and something like that. All right, next game on the slate. Still a lot to go. We appreciate everyone hanging out. 350, all we ask. Like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And if you do want to join us at The Nation, all you got to do, shipitnation.com. Join The Nation. You click that button there, and you can see the daily pass for $9, which includes Saber Sim, all of our content. 5 days for $19. Saber Sim Discord, all of our content. And then, of course, there's monthly access, annual access. We would love to have you at The Nation. Definitely do get in the Discord if you do join. Charlotte Hornets and the Dallas Mavericks. 3.5-point favorites are the Hornets. 226.5 total in this one. On the Dallas side, Brandon Williams, questionable. No Najee Marshall. On the Charlotte side, no injuries or Grant Williams is out. Otherwise, no injuries to note. Man, what a smash by Diabate yesterday at 5,200. Brandon Williams came off the bench, which we didn't love. Only played 23 minutes, but a 30% usage, like 38 the game before when he's on the court. The ball is going up. The ball will be in his hand a lot. However, he's questionable. So if he missed, I think Hardy maybe would be a little interesting. But if he does play, what do you think of the minutes? Because, I mean, if he's playing like 27 plus, give me all the Brandon Williams. If he's playing 23, a little more thin on a slate like this.
I thought I saw that he was upgraded to probable, but I could be wrong. But he is still showing questionable on both Saber and on BBM, but I could have swore
when you talk about it, I'll look. You saw the underdog?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. I'll look when you go.
Yeah, both teams on a back-to-back tonight. Najee Marshall getting the night off. Been playing a ton lately. They'll get Cooper Flagg back. Not sure if they're going to have him on a minutes, like a strict minutes restriction. I don't think Jason Kidd doesn't really do minutes restrictions. He'll say he's on one, but then play him like 32. So I probably think he's closer to full, whatever that would mean. But yeah, I mean, as we talked about on yesterday's show, the Hornets are just crushing right now on both ends of the court. Really cool to see, but they have a lot of chemistry, which I think is a huge thing in NBA for sure. But their starting lineup, I think it was 10-1 with the Ball, Knipple, Bridges, Miller, Diabate starting lineup. So they're just really, really playing well. They're the best rebounding team in the NBA. Do still have some turnover issues with LaMelo for sure, and just younger guys in general. But the rim defense has gotten much better this month, and then they are not letting teams out in transition. One of the better transition defense in the league, holding teams in the half court. So a slower paced team for sure. And the Mavs, on the other hand, 7th in defense over the last 2 weeks. They're playing pretty well as well, but they're bottom 2 in rim defense, and they continue to have issues with lead guards. So I think there is a little bit of upside scoring-wise for Charlotte, but this is a much different spot than they were in last night. I love the matchup. I thought there was a really good chance that we got a ceiling game from some of these guys. Miller and Bridges were both on their way to huge games, just to blow out, cut them down a little bit. I don't know. I don't think I'm really prioritizing Charlotte tonight. LaMelo should be good to go. He's not listed. Probably starting again. I think they're much better with him in the starting lineup. Just need to stop messing around with his minutes. I think Diabate is probably in the best spot, but it's a little worrisome that he was playing so deep into the blowout last game. Maybe it's just because he was playing so well. 18 points, 19 rebounds, just a beast on the rebounds. But 33 minutes last night, not great to see. I feel like he probably is dialed back a little bit, but he'd be the guy I want to get to. It's just a much better spot for the bigs than anybody else on Charlotte. Dallas, I don't really see much that I'm really prioritizing. I agree with you on Brandon Williams, really good usage rate. Price is not that great, and Cooper Flag being back, I think, does hurt him a little bit, but don't really have anything negative to say. It's just I think the price is correct. I probably prefer him when he was below 5K.
Is he going to start for Najee?
No, he won't start.
Yeah, it's tough.
It'll be Cooper Flag, and then they're going to stick with Caleb Martin and PJ Washington, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's tough then at 23 minutes on the 8-game slate.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Miller is fine. I mean, the dude, he's really good, and when he's on, I mean, he's a flamethrower, and it keeps going up. So on a slate that can be pretty chalky, kind of in that Rollins-ish price, mid-tier builds. I think he's an interesting. I don't think he's probably going to be 13%, maybe 7%.
If the Hornets could allow a team to keep the game close, like these guys have huge upside that we really have not seen yet. Like Brandon Miller is shooting the ball really, really well over the last couple weeks. There's just the minutes are all over the place because they're blowing teams out so much. Yeah. If you ran into a game where it's like a close one and he gets 35, 36 minutes, he realistically has 40-point scoring upside, like real points.
Yeah, I mean they're only 3.5-point favorites, 226.5 total. So why not today? I mean, it could be. He'd be someone that I'd be willing to take a shot on.
I think they were like 2-point favorites yesterday, though.
Yeah. Sometimes the books do get it off. Sometimes they're not right. I got nothing more in that one. Or was there like any Jaden Hardy love, or would any Nemhard? I don't know about that. But like if Brandon Williams is out, or is it really just like a Cooper Flag maybe, or a Christie? Like, what do you see with Brandon Williams, or is it not enough on this slate if he were to be out to move the needle?
Probably not enough to move the needle. I think Flag might be a little bit better just from a usage standpoint, but the layout of the slate, I don't know if you really need to spend down to 3.5K for Jaden Hardy when his minutes aren't even secure.
Yeah, I mean, we don't at all. We've talked about it a lot, so you're probably right. The value out right now is fine, and it can only get better with a lot of these Q tags. And there is some Q tags in this next game. Phoenix Suns and the Detroit Pistons, 3.5-point favorites of the Pistons, 214.5 total. On the Phoenix side, no Devin Booker, no Jalen Green, and Colin Gillespie's questionable again. He was questionable last game, and he missed. And the Detroit side, nothing to note there. I mean, are we just running it right back? It was, Dylan Brooks had a solid game. Grayson had a solid game. Brooks had a great first half. Goodwin just did but I mean, I'm looking at these prices. If there's no Gillespie, I know the matchup's not great and it's a low total, but I mean, if it's really the ownership we're looking at, I have some interest taking shots on some of these Suns guys at low ownership. But are you priced out in this game environment?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think you definitely need Gillespie to be out to get to guys, and it's really just Grayson and Dylan Brooks that you're considering. Like we expected them to take on big roles, and it was obviously came to fruition. 5.3 minutes of touch time for Grayson, 4.2 for Dylan Brooks. So they led the team there. Obviously, sky high usage for both those guys. But it sounds like Gillespie is pretty close to suiting up. Like I think he warmed up last game, was game time decision, then got ruled out. So he might be back tonight, which would just make it kind of an unplayable situation. But I think if Gillespie is out, it's Grayson, it's Dylan Brooks. Also, decent matchup for both. Pistons, obviously, I think they're the best defense in the league now, but they do give up more threes. They're just really, really good at protecting the basket, really good rebounding team. So it's a bad spot for the bigs on Phoenix. I also don't really think that you're considering Mark Williams or Oso tonight. It's a back-to-back as well for them. They play tomorrow against Cleveland. So, yeah, Jalen Green's already ruled out, so that's kind of solidifying Jordan Goodwin's minutes. But, yeah, I think it's just Brooks or Allen on the Phoenix side. And then nothing really stands out on the Pistons side. These have really been two teams you don't want to attack in DFS because they're two really good defenses. Different slate tonight, though, with there not being a ton of spend-up. So I think Cade is kind of like one of the better spends just from a floor ceiling. Like, you know what you're getting. Just like by default, if you need money to spend up, then Cade at 10.3K makes a lot of sense. But nothing about his matchup stands out really. Like it's honestly kind of a negative matchup going up against Dylan Brooks. So yeah, I don't really see anything that I'm really running out of my way to play in this game.
If you had like Jamal Murray, Maxey, SGA, Cade. Do you have any strong lean? The four of the 5 highest spend ups, all point guard.
Yeah, it's gonna be Shea for me. Obviously, we'll talk about him
We'll
when we
talk.
get to that, but yeah, I think it's Shea, and then it would be Cade.
Okay.
Yeah, then probably Maxey and Jamal.
Perfect. 2 games left. Brooklyn Nets and the Denver Nuggets. Let me refresh quick. We are looking at 6.5 point favorites of the Nuggets, 209.5 total. So another very low one. On the Denver side, no Aaron Gordon. On the Brooklyn side, no Clowney, no Igor Demin, no Cam Thomas, no Zaire Williams. So, I mean, they're pretty thin. Someone that will be getting a decent amount of ownership you can see in this game. Let's just sort by ownership. Jovel, 6.5K at center. Going to fit that mid-tier build. Very strong. 1.3 fantasy point per minute producer. But yeah, and then you see a lot of Brooklyn Nets. And this is kind of what we're talking about for value. Like, I'm not sure this ownership really holds true because there's some like the Sengun, Jalen Johnson. If these guys, some of these important Q tags are ruled out earlier, people are going to play the Bucks and the Wizards. Like, I don't think they're really going to jam Brooklyn value. You can tell me if you're wrong, if you think I'm wrong. I think, to be honest, maybe the most owned net is Michael Porter, and I think that's just coming down to this slate. Like, he fits a mid-tier build, good point per minute guy. There's some injuries, and there might be other stronger values. So, yeah, no Q tag right now, and the slate's ruled out. You will see these Brooklyn guys get a little ownership. Still not even sure. I think we might be the average we're taking might be a little hot, but yeah, Jovel, Michael Porter, and then talk about these Nets value.
Yeah, I mean, anytime the Nets are getting a lot of ownership, it's pretty gross. And I think that this is like, I don't remember what team it was that we talked about maybe this week, but they had like 100. It might have been the Suns or maybe I forget who it was exactly, but they had like 101, 102 implied total. And I was just like, I don't really see how these many guys are getting this much ownership. Obviously, it'll spread out a lot if we do get the Sengun and Jalen Johnson news and Giddey. Like, it's going to spread things out a lot. But I really hope that it happens because I just don't want to feel the need to play the Nets at all. They still have enough guys. Like, they got Jalen Wilson and Ben Soroff. They're going to mix in. Like, Nolan Traore was out of the rotation. He'll be back tonight. So don't really want to go to my way to prioritize these Nets pieces at all if I can get away from it. It is a decent matchup, a really good matchup for the Nuggets on the other side, but they are also on the front end of a back-to-back, and they play the Clippers tomorrow. So you would imagine if there was ever a time for them to ramp up their minutes, it would be tomorrow. But they aren't really a team that does that. Like, they'll play their guys full minutes regardless. I think that if the game's close, Jamal's probably playing 38 minutes. Jovel's probably playing close to full. Also kind of tilting the Jovel stuff because I had him at like 5% last game. Nobody was really on him. I saw like everywhere around the industry projected for like 26 minutes, but he played 32. And it didn't even matter because all the chalk got there. But that was kind of nice to see. But you're not going to get that type of ownership on him tonight. I really love the matchup for him, though. I think there's a lot really working in his favor, and it very comparable to what we saw from Mark Williams the other night, where the Nets they have one of the best pick and roll defenses in the league, and it's just because they throw so much attention to pick and roll guys, but their rim defense has been terrible. Their rebounding is not good. And we saw Mark Williams with a ton of paint touches last game, had a career high 27 points. Jovel is a much better, I don't know if he's a better player than Mark Williams, but in terms of fantasy, he's definitely the much better per minute guy. And he's also a pretty good passer as well. So I could see a lot of the offense running through Jovel when they blitz 2 guys at the ball and pick and roll. And even if he's not full, like 28 minutes from him, I think he could really hit in a big way. So he's my favorite option on the Denver side. And then I think Peyton Watson is okay, like 7.2K. We've seen him have massive scoring upside, and Nets can turn over at times. They're really not that great in transition. Weak rim defense was kind of an okay spot for him. And then Jamal Murray, I don't really like the matchup for him. He had a huge game against the Nets earlier, but that was with like 16, 17 assists, something like that. So if you're expecting that again, I don't really know if the scoring output is going to be there as much. You're probably banking on a efficient passing night. As far as the Nets go, yeah, I agree that MPJ is the guy that I'm looking at. A revenge game for him, first game back in Denver. It seems like whatever knee injury that was nagging him is subsided. He's played a ton of minutes in the 2 of the last 3 games that were not blowouts. I kind of like him just for narrative alone. Like they obviously traded him away after he was such a big part of their championship run and just the Nuggets in general with Jokic and Jamal Murray. So I think that he's definitely motivated. And now we're getting him at a much more acceptable price tag, 8.2K. So I do like him a good bit here. Not too into Claxton. I think Sharp might be even a little bit better for the $1,700 price difference. And then we should expect bigger roles for guys like Danny Wolf. I don't know if he's going to start, but he's a pretty good passer. They kind of look at him as like a point forward. So he's decent at 4.2K. Expect Traore back into the mix. Terrence Mann is probably starting at point guard. I think Traore's behind him. This is kind of the spot where I'll get a little bit stricter with my rules. Like I don't want more than one of Traore, Terrence Mann, or Tyrese Martin. Even Ben Soroff, too, if you're considering him, I would be a max one of those guys. And then I would be a max two of the Jalen Wilson, Danny Wolf, Drake Powell, and MPJ grouping. And then obviously max favorites? One of the cheap guys.
Yeah, said one, max one.
Max one, Claxton and Sharp, obviously, but that's kind of a given.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any favorites of those? Man, Martins, Traore's?
I like Wolf and Traore the best of the cheap guys. And then I guess Terrence Mann because he's just so cheap and he's going to play a lot.
What if MPJ is 30% ownership? Does that change anything for you?
Sorry, I got barking dogs right outside my window, so I'm trying to keep it muted.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
If MPJ is 30%, right now we're showing 9, I think that's light. If it's 30%, does that change your appeal for him at all, or still want to try and get over the field?
I'd be surprised if it got that high, honestly, but yeah that definitely would. I think he's pretty good, like anywhere below 20.
It probably is high. He just fits so many builds, and there's not really spends where I guess the more value we get, the more people can just jam in a random spend. But I don't think people will – the 8.2K price, but I think people will see the revenge spot. They're not going to love too many clicks above, and they're just going to jam as many solid guys that they can there. I mean, he's going to chuck, but is there any thought to you that – is he going to get the Peyton Watson assignment first of all? And is there any – like the Nuggets just flat out just try and shut him down? Like they know he's going to chuck. They're going to just – focus mainly on him and let others beat him. Is there something to be said about that?
Yeah, I don't know. You're kind of asking the team to change.
Double all pick and rolls. Like you're forcing, like you're not giving him any open looks. Like he's just the guy you're worried about all game long, and just make him shoot really dumb and difficult shots like he's done a lot of his career.
He's been making those dumb and difficult shots this year though, but he's just not really like, you're asking a lot for a team to just completely change their defensive game plan for a guy. But I mean, like, in theory, it does make sense. Yeah, he is a good defender for sure.
I mean, I don't understand the most completely different tangent, but the most improved odds. Like, first of all, Denny Avdia, like the dude was a complete stud last year. Like, sure, maybe he's improved. He should not be minus 160. Keontae George has been phenomenal. How Jalen Johnson's plus 450. Like, talk about another guy that's great. Like Peyton Watson, Keontae George, Anthony Black, Jalen Tyson. Like, these are, in my opinion, the guys that should be winning that award. But yeah, Peyton Watson, 7,200. What a year he's had. So shout out to him. I do think he's interesting.
He might get traded soon too.
Peyton Watson?
There's some talk about it because it's like the whole second apron stuff. Really, the only guy that they can move that would make a difference to like the cap space would be Zeke Naji. And I don't think people are really running to grab Zeke Naji.
Definitely not. All right, we got the last game on the slate coming up. I'm an hour. Appreciate everyone hanging out with all 375. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If you want to join us at The Nation, you can see all these sports above, the best community around in Discord, partnered with SaberSim. You can get in as low as $9 for 5 days, $19. We do have UFC 325 coming up this weekend, NHL, PGA Showdown. You can see all the Showdown content there. We do have a PGA Showdown show later, rounds 2, 3, and 4. And, of course, NBA, you can find all of our content right here as well. Last game of the night should be a good one. OKC Thunder is 6.5-point favorites over the Minnesota Timberwolves. 228.5 total. On the Minnesota side, Gobert and Ant are questionable. Mike Conley is out. On the OKC side, no Ajay Mitchell, no Alex Caruso. He's been out for a little bit. And then Kaysen Wallace questionable again. Did miss last game with the same Q tag. I'm not really sure how much you can. I'll let you talk about it. Ant was he was gonna play, and then he was a downgrade, and then right at the last lock, he was ruled out. This game's on an island at 7:30 or 9:30 Eastern, with a lot of good games early. Like I just don't know how much room you can really have. So is it worth playing like Julius Randle or a Naz Reid and just hoping you get it right? Do you think Ant's back and you just stay away? And you did mention Shea though, so yeah, take it away. It's relatively low owned, but the Q tags are important.
Yeah, for sure. Gobert, definitely the biggest one, just because you got to replace those minutes with another starting center. And it would be, I mean, Naz Reid is obviously the clear guy that would improve from a projection standpoint and playing time standpoint. We also have to wonder what it does defensively. Like, do the Wolves become more likely? Like, is there more of a likelihood of them getting blown out? I think this game does stay close. Wolves look pretty good right now. Still have some issues on defense, but all around playing pretty well. And then the Thunder are getting healthier. Isaiah Hartenstein off the injury report, making his return after, I don't even know, it feels like he's been out for a month or two now. But yeah, still somewhat thin. No J-Dub, no Caruso, no Mitchell, like you mentioned. I think the minutes are going to be really high. This is the third time these teams have faced off, and both teams kind of treat it like a playoff game. I think that there's like a mini rivalry brewing here. So yeah, I think that there's like, this is a game I definitely have interest in the studs. I think Shea is a really good option here at 10.8K. Obviously, Jay McDaniel is one of the better defenders in the league, but hasn't really been able to slow Shea down in their career matchups. The way that you beat Minnesota is with pick and roll, so obviously that's a good setup for Shea. But he's averaging 37.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists per game against the Wolves this season, 61 DK points per game. But yeah, we have years worth of data showing that's not really a matchup you need to shy away from. I was just looking at like the matchup data, and he's one of the guys that's defended Shea the most, hasn't really held him too much in check. So I definitely think that Shea is one of my favorite spend ups. I think we're going to get a lot of minutes from him tonight, like probably 37 to 38, I think is within the range of outcomes for him. Been pretty limited for the most part. Outside of Shea, don't really see anything else that I'm really prioritizing. The only other guy that I have interest in, and I think he's kind of fine regardless, would be Aaron Wiggins at 5.1K, simply just because small forward, power forward that's cheap is kind of where you want to spend down. And he should play a lot more if Kaysen Wallace were to miss, hypothetically. So I think that those are the two guys I'm really only considering right now. Don't really think, like, even if they were to start Jalen Williams again at center, like, I don't think I'm going back there. He doesn't provide enough scoring, and I don't think that they were going to want to play him as much as they did with Hartenstein back. On the Wolves side, yeah, it's Ant for me at 9.2K. Lou Dort's done a good job against Ant. Like, Lou Dort's obviously a great defender, but very dirty. I don't know if you saw the Jeremiah Fears stuff the other night.
Yeah, I mean, Fears didn't back down, but all I'm saying is Lou Dort was on his, like, that dude's a brick. Yeah. Like, you ain't really moving Lou Dort, but yeah, just this little bitch. I would hate playing against him.
That's kind of, I don't know, you're doing that to like a 19-year-old though. Like, that's just, yeah, that's messed up. But I mean, Fears did step up to him.
Oh, mad.
All right, Jalen Johnson just got ruled out, so maybe we can circle back to that. But I think we kind of
Fears was so mad.
Yeah, it was kind of weird though. Like, who was it? Joe Dumars was like basically like carrying him back to the locker room, like just had his arms around him, was walking him back. It was like a weird, very weird scene. Yeah, no, I agree, very much so. But yeah, Lou Dort was being Lou Dort. Yep, but I mean that's the role he plays on this team. I mean, they got everything they need. Like, just he's the scrapper. You talked about it for years, though. He plays defense like it's football, and he gets away with it. Oh, he's so dirty, and I like OKC fans are the most OKC fans and OKC beat writers are the most insufferable group of people in sports. Like, and they don't get enough hate, I don't think. So we gotta like bully them into stop doing what they're doing. But yeah, he plays very very dirty defense. He's done a good job against Ant in his career, holding it to just a 55% true shooting percentage. So obviously that's not good, but Ant can make that up with just playing a ton of minutes. He played 40 minutes in both the matches versus OKC this season, averaging 53.3 DK points per game. And he's getting it done like with the peripheral stats. And if you can run into a spot where the Wolves find ways, like creative ways to get him involved, maybe in some like catch and shoot opportunities, because you obviously want him to be the main scoring threat, then I think that there is upside for Ant at this price tag. So I like him. I don't know if I like him the most, but he's definitely up there. I definitely prefer him over Randall. I just don't think that it's a spot for either Rudy or Randall.
Is
OKC
Ant
just
questionable at all?
No, he's good. He's good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. At least I think so. I mean, he played last game, so I think he's good. Yeah, off the injury report, he's good to go.
All right, I understand.
Yeah, I don't really like Randall or Gobert. I do like Nas. I like the matchup for Nas and Jaden McDaniels, though. Where OKC can get beat is with three-point shooters, especially corner three-point shooters. Nas and Jaden McDaniels are two of their best corner three-point shooting options. And I think that Nas is going to play a good bit regardless, just because he provides a lot of spark on offense that you need against OKC. You need floor spacing. You got to get shooters on the courts. I think that Nas is the guy that I'm really honing in as my second option. And I think that there's a little bit of upside for Jay McDaniels. Even at this high price tag, he's going to play a lot, potentially even matching Shea's minutes, which could be like 36 to 38. He's shooting nearly 15% from the corner this season. So good matchup. I think there's a little bit of upside for Jaden. But those are the three guys I'm mainly picking on this game. I think it's a little bit better than the ownership is showing.
Yeah, I mean, two of your favorites were Ant, SGA, and you mentioned Nas. At the end of the day, that's spends in a mid-tier option. Like, I think that's where you should go. Like, you don't really need value, even if Kaysen's out. Yeah, sure, Aaron Wiggins may be fine at 5-1, but like, you're going to have value on this slate. We just got Jalen Johnson news if you want to circle back to that, but there's even more Q tags, even more value could open up, and speds are great. So if you're getting a close game between Shea and Ant playing 37 plus minutes, sign me up for that all day. You'll have enough value to play both if you want. That'll definitely be contrarian though. You want to circle back to? It looks like it's updated. No, they just put Johnson at 0.
It looks
how
like
do you want to go about it?
Yeah, it looks like they're giving more minutes to Mo Gay, which is kind of expected. But yeah, I mean these guys,
CJ, Dyson, Kispert.
Yeah, obviously all those guys look a lot better. I still think that it's Dyson is the guy that I'm most interested in. I think he's just going to take on a really, really big role as like the lead handler. Now it's going to be him and NAW and CJ mixing in. I don't know how they go about the starting lineup though. That's what I'm curious about, because they could just bring CJ in, Kispert down to the 4, but even Houston, if they didn't have Sengun, they're still huge. So I think you need more size on the court. So Mo Gay makes the most sense.
Yeah. Any Coloco? I'm not sure we need it on this slate, but you're talking about how big they are. I mean, if Gay gets in a foul trouble, then I mean you could be looking at more minutes, but otherwise, I mean, at least looking just at Sabersim, they got him over Mo Gay for minutes. I don't necessarily believe that, but I think 23, 24, 25, 3,300.
Yeah, he's probably playing above 20. I think you have to start. Like, you probably have to start Coloco and Gay now. The only way that I think so. If you started with Coloco, that at least gives you an out to go to Capella if Sengun just get ruled out,
which is in the same game. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with the starting lineup, because even what I see projected is not necessarily what is going to happen, because they could start with CJ in there and just go smaller, which I don't know if that's necessarily the way you want to go though. But yeah, they're really thin. I mean, they have all their G League guys are out too, so
more mid-tier builds. I mean, you can't even spend more than 7.1K for Naw. So yeah, it's gonna fit the mold of the slate. There's gonna be some value opening up, but there's gonna be a lot of Bucks, Hawks, some Wizards. Spends aren't really appealing. So hammer the mid-tier is what the popular build will be. And if you want to get a little different, I think SGA and Ant, I think you made a lot of strong cases for that to load up in the last game. Also gives you just more flexibility if some injury news does break a certain way. Any final thoughts before?
Sabre did update, and they have Mo Gay projecting really, really strongly now. So
let me update it real
seems
quick.
Like I would probably follow that. I think he's going to start like seven times value. Austin Newell is in there as well.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, Coloco. I mean, he looks pretty strong too. Yeah, he's power forward. I mean, for a point per dollar sense, again, the point per dollar means a little less on a slate like this, which is so many strong values and not as many spends. But yeah, Mo Gay would be one of the most popular plays on the slate. What about Noel?
Yeah, I like him. I think that he's a solid player, really good per minute producer. I just don't think that he's getting a ton of minutes. Like I think they'll probably condense it to Gay and Koloko in the front court.
Yeah, I mean these three look strong though. Daniels, Naw, CJ, Max 2.
Of the team, or
Of those three?
Yeah, I think it is a max 2 of those three, and that probably would be max 2 of Gay, Newell, Koloko as well.
Max 2 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts? Again, you'll have your core report up, the slate plan up, DVP rankings, everything you need, projections, ownership updated throughout the night. Our man Little Neck doing the slate plan for the last game. You're always in Discord. Best community around, most affordable. We would love to have everyone. And if not, all we ask is we appreciate that like button. 400 watching, a great turnout on Thursday. Sad, no Thursday night football, but yeah, we got to get used to that for the foreseeable future. So any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Nope. Yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate all the support. Yeah, like Tyler said, just hit that like button. Definitely help us out so we can continue doing the free shows for everybody.
Absolutely. I will be back with Big Marley tonight talking some fights, 8:45 Eastern. Great UFC card, big boy prizes. And again, you can get that in that 5 days, $19. You can get all the MMA content this week. And then Ham and our man Matt will be back tomorrow talking some hoops. That'll do it for us. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Have a great Thursday night. Be safe. Good luck in your contest for Rio. I'm Titletown. Good night. Good night. Good afternoon. Good night. Good luck. I don't even know. Peace. That was weird. It logged us back out.
What do you mean? Are we
Or
still
like,
live?
no. Well,